Hey everybody, I'm Yvonne Williams with Back to Earth Creations, and in this video I want to show y'all how I make these leather mini vest, bralette, bustiers, like whatever you want to call it. I'm going to show you how I make it. Now if you don't have a dress form, I highly recommend using like a sports bra or something of the sort that you really like the way that it fits and you can actually put it on to yourself. Or like if you're making it for a friend, put it on a friend, or if you have a friend who's like roughly the same size and shape as you, put it on them, and kind of you can draw on the sports bra the same way we're going to be drawing on what we're about to do on the mannequin here. So let me angle the camera down so you can get a better view. I'm so excited about this project. I really hope I do a good job showing y'all how to make your own, because I've gotten so many comments and I've put a lot into trying to figure out how to make the best video possible for y'all. So we're going to start with just some plastic wrap, and you could also just put an old t-shirt or something on over the mannequin, but I've been trying desperately to use up this plastic wrap. So here we go. And you're just going to want to wrap however it appeals to you. If you're doing this around your body, don't squeeze. Like, don't cinch the saran wrap in, because you will like start cutting off your circulation and stuff, and you're gonna have a bad time. Okay. It's kind of hard getting that first initial layer, but once you get that going, it really gets a lot easier. Okay. This is also the same way that I do my leather corset patterns. And we'll kind of talk a little bit more about that. If I were doing a corset here, I'd just come down over the hips a little bit more. So you can see I'm coming up and over the shoulder. So I'm going to come down over the front before wrapping. And you don't have to worry about it being too flat and perfect. This is going to use up a lot of saran wrap though, so or plastic wrap, so if you can manage it, use up the store brand. Wrapping around the other side, and what this is doing is it's providing a layer that will go, I hope y'all can hear me over this plastic, it just occurred to me, we're providing a layer that will go between the tape we're going to be using and either a dress form or a bodies or what have you. Okay, so just snip that off. And you could use duct tape, you could use packaging tape. Here in this video I'm going to be using painter's tape because that's what I have. So that's what I'm going to use. And you'll need a lot of it. And so we're going to be starting just pulling off some pieces. And again, you want to make sure that you're not going to be touching any of the fabric underneath, because this sticky side's really going to start being bothersome. Doing a couple of pieces over as the shoulders. And this so you can see. See how that's coming across the front? And I'm just going to head straight down with it too. You can see how this is starting to happen in the back, because you don't have to make the pattern as is with the tape, but oops, sorry, you do want to get like the general shape of it and make sure that there's tape everywhere that you want the final pattern to be, if that makes sense. Down across the front. So this does use up quite a bit of tape, but it makes a pattern template that you can reuse countless times. I don't know how many times I've used the last batch that I made with an old t-shirt and some duct tape. Okay, now I need a little bit more plastic wrap right here. So I'm just going to lay that like that. Then on the places where it's already been taped over, I'm just going to fold it in. But that way we have a little bit of coverage there. This is a dress form that my mom had gotten at like a yard sale or a flea market or something maybe. I'm not entirely certain, but I think it's pretty neat. And she's roughly about the same shape as what I'm trying to achieve here. You can also take a pillow and put a like stiff bra on it. Stuff the bra, like if it's your own bra, stuff the bra, take your own measurements of across from here to here in both the front and the back, lengthwise, around like underneath your armpits above the bust, across the fullest point of the bust, and then around underneath the bust as well as your waist. Like just like try to get it to match each time, and then use duct tape, like wrap the pillow up in saran wrap and use duct tape to kind of cinch that down. I think I might do a separate video about that, just in particular, that technique of using a regular sleeping pillow. Because there's so many different ways of making patterns, and some of them are more suitable for different projects than others. So there's no right or wrong way to ever be doing that, if it makes sense. So I'm still just going to keep. And you do want a pretty generous coverage because it's the tape that's going to be providing the stiffness. I want you all to be able to see what's going on here. Now also another reason why I like to use painter's tape is it's not ultra tacky and sticky. It doesn't leave a whole lot of residue. So if I do get some onto my dress form, it's not going to leave like a sticky gunky mark. Okay, the back looks pretty well filled in. I want to fill in right here a little bit. Okay, so now for the boobs. We do want this part as snug and form-fitted as we can get it. Like, we don't want it to just be kind of carefully draped, like loosely draped. Like, I really want to capture the shape of the bosom here. And then I'll show you guys how you can do some reshaping too. And also, as in all things, this is just the way that I'm doing it, and I kind of stumbled into this. I don't have any training as a seamstress or pattern maker or anything like that. So this is just what I've been doing to make my own patterns, and it seems to work. But what will help most of all is having an understanding of the final garment and how you want it to perform and function. And that's something that we'll talk about more as this progresses. Because probably my favorite thing about this outfit is it's adjustable here, here, right there, and down the middle of the back on both sides. So it really allows for a lot of adjustability. So keeping that in mind, I'm a 38 double D. So like this style of top can be sized to fit much larger, because you can see I'm almost brought completely together in the back and on the sides here, and then I've got a little bit of wide there just because I like how that sits. But I could adjust this to fit a variety of different sizes, so long as it doesn't go down below, say, a D cup. And so I will show you too how I resized some of my other templates from my own body shape to get it to fit one of my clients, who's also a very good friend, who is quite petite. She's just real lithe and willowy. So very different body type, but you know, I was able to modify the design to fit her nicely, had the way she wanted as well. There we go. That's another thing too, is you do want the tape to make full contact the whole time. And it's starting to come together. Just still got some weird boobage spots that need covered. So this one that I'm making the pattern for here is actually going to be made to fit a lady who is a 40G. And she wanted the half cup style, the way that mine is, where it doesn't come all the way over the top. Because you can, whenever you're making your own pattern, you can have the neck of this come up however high that you want. I just don't like feeling stuff right here. So, I keep all my stuff pretty low cut, so it's entirely up to you or who you're making it for to decide for themselves what they would like. Okay, and so now here underneath the bosom, this is where I'm really pulling it in a little bit tighter, because this will help us establish the curves and everything of the pattern. Okay, so now that's how we get the mannequin covered to start making our pattern. So now I want to show you guys a little bit what we have going on over here. These are two older templates that I have made, one of which was used to make the one that I'm wearing, the vest that I'm wearing, as well as vests that I've sold out of the booth. And then the other one was the one that was sized down. And you can see on the back side, I had an L written in, or an S written in. Excuse me. Thank you, Randy. My allergies have been killing me today. Or an S written in for if it's a small, so this way I'd be able to tell. So these two, sorry, were allergies. These two were actually the same piece. You can just see how it was sized down. So, okay. So here you can see this was the back panel that I used to make this side. If you can see how that kind of fit. And the way that I made these, as you can see, it was just a brown t-shirt and then some duct tape, and I ran out of one color, so I had to use another color. But the way that it would fit together see here. Sorry, my nose is running. And to make it symmetrical, I just take the one piece and I trace on one side and then I flip it over and trace another one to get the two halves to be symmetrical. But this is how they would piece together. So this is where the back joins to the side and the side joins to the front. Where the material is missing here, or rather has been removed. Sorry, again, trying to get the best angle possible for you guys. Okay, so here you can see there's removed material. That provides the curve of the bust. Like, if that makes sense. It kind of comes around. It's like whenever you put a dart into something to get it to be a little bit more tailored. And so that comes around. I'm so sorry for my runny nose. And then over here is where the back and the front meet over the shoulder. So you can kind of see, excuse me, a little bit more how that would sit. So the way that we would do this then, if we come back over here, angle this back up so you can see what all we're doing. There we go. Did I break it? No. Okay. Sam, stop licking the couch. Okay, so this is where we pull out our handy dandy marker. And you could put a sports bra on here or and trace around that if you wanted something to give you an idea of where the coverage would already be laying. But what I'm going to do is I'm just going to come in, and this is our middle line. Ish. There's definitely a refining period going on here. And then I could follow actually the zipper down the center of the back on the mannequin here. The reason why I do a contraction point here, or rather have it cut, is because you can see on this one, even with those points removed, there's still a little bit of buckling and weirdness going on. And I found that by having it lace up the center of the back, not only did it make it more adjustable, but it made it so that it's not buckling and like behaving oddly. So there's that. We're going to want a split here for shaping on each side. I'm gonna want to cut here because that's something that this one that I'm wearing was the prototype design. So in the future ones I've made it, oh, I just marked on myself. I've made it to where there's eyelets here and it can lace up to shorten or contract because some people, you know, it just gives you more, again, more options for adjustability. Okay, and so down the front, I think I want to do a little bit more of a, let's see how this one lays over it. Yeah, you can see I just did a plunged V line on this one, like V neckline. But I'm going to try to get that to happen from scratch without using... And also, I didn't want this part up here too wide because if you bring your arm up, you don't want it like biting into your neck. And I do yoga in this, so it's like I really want to be able to bring my arms up without complicating my movement. I hear you, Ember. A nice round armhole. Because that's another thing. We'll probably have the dart happen. You don't want it to hit right there, so we'll probably do it across the fullest part of the bust and then down. Yeah. And then getting the other side to match is always kind of complicated. So what we'll do is just try our best, because that's all a person can do. And then on the bottom here, I'm going to have that come down a little wider. I'm going to do a very slight V. Sorry, I hope my head's in the way, but I'm just kind of trying to... I actually think I'm going to add in some tape here on the side and have this come around a little bit lower, because with a 40G, that's a lot of boob to hold up. So we want, the part of how this vest works is it distributes the weight of holding the bosom up by harnessing on the back. So I do want to make sure that we do have enough material here to keep this vest comfortable and as much coverage as you want, because you also don't want boob crawling out the bottom. Unless you do, and in which case you're designing it, do whatever you want. Yep, there we go. Same thing kind of goes on the back here. I want to give it a very slight point. Okay, and also a nice generous armhole, because nothing's worse than feeling something kind of rub and chafe you where your arm's coming through. And the more you experiment with this, the better you'll get at it. You can take, if you have a shirt that you like the way that the sleeve is cut on it, go ahead and put that over your mannequin or your pillow and kind of get an idea of how all of that is laying. That way, I mean, don't feel like you have to start entirely from scratch without any references or patterns or anything like that. Okay. There we go. Okay, so now we get to cut it off. I'm going to start up the center line. If you're wearing this, please be careful. So there's that. It's now cut off. And we can now kind of take it off of our dress form. And we could put it on if we wanted. Except for that she didn't have arms. And so this way, it's always good every step that you can to make sure that everything's kind of fitting-ish. This is really complicated to put on. So I'm going to start by cutting out the armholes. And this way I'll be able to try it on before cutting all the other pieces away. Because based off of her measurements and my measurements, hers needs to be on its smallest setting, no smaller than what I am. because she's a busty gal. So we're just cutting it out. Oops. Okay, so now I should be able to put this on. So you can see that is one side. My bosom's just a little higher up than hers, so I'm gonna have some puckering in the shoulders. And I'm also, this is like the hardest thing I've ever put on in my whole life. Hey Randy, can you come help me? I can't find the armhole. Oh, there it is. Maybe. I'm also a little broader shouldered than the mannequin. But you can see kind of how that's going to sit. And so we're definitely going to need to add a little bit in here. So the way that we will do that, let's take this off, there we go, is whenever we cut here, because this is not our final draft pattern. What we're going to do is we're going to move all this stuff over here. And I'm going to keep cutting out on all the lines that we did. Start scooping out the neck. And again, it's not going to be perfect right now. That's perfectly fine. That's to be expected. That's why you make a pattern instead of just doing it on your final piece right in the get-go. All these different pieces off. I'm gonna get you all a better camera angle, hopefully. Now, and also a big reason of why I can be so lax with the way that I'm making this pattern is all of it laces up using these eyelets. So it gives us so much room for adjustability. So I'm not too terribly worried about, oh no, it has to be fitted perfectly right here. It's like, well, if it doesn't fit, just lace it in a little different. Because boobs are fickle creatures. They can change so much from one day to the next. Okay. And so here I just cut the seam on this one, so when it's laid out you can see the way that the darting kind of behaved. And just based on my own knowledge, I know I'm going to need to take a little bit more out here, because you can see even now this one buckles a little bit on me. So I'm just going to, and also something that you can do is have where the ends line up here, mark it, and have where the ends lined up here and mark it. And so you can kind of see that shows you where to line it up. I'm going to go ahead and do that on the other cup before it's cut. There we go. And I'm going to just snip around. So there's that. I'm going to cut the shoulder. There's one piece. I'm going to cut this side back. And I'm going to cut up the center. So there we are. There's our 3 pattern pieces. Now, if you want a little bit more of an exaggerated curve, what you can do is you can trim out right here. And I'm just going to take that little bit off. Just that sliver, but it makes the difference between it puckering funny on the sides and it not puckering funny on the sides. It's another reason why it's important to do those darting, is so you don't accidentally attach the boob to the armpit. Okay, so yeah, and then on this one too, I'm going to deepen in the shoulder blade area just a little bit more to allow for more movement. And to accommodate a fuller cup size, whenever I am drawing this out on my leather, I'm actually going to extend this by about 1 inch. And I think that will give us a lot more coverage kind of over here on the side, which I think will be perfect for her. And I'm going to save this piece over here for something else. Now, to make a pattern be smaller, what I would do is I would come through and just shave it down, just the same way that I shaved down the armhole. It's kind of, I shrink all the curves and everything down just a bit. So I would come through on this one. I'm just going to do a dotted line. I'll darken it in a bit. And you can, of course, modify this based on the measurements of the client. But you would basically, just like how I just followed the lines like that, if you can see, and then cut it out, and that would make it smaller. And I would do that on all 3 pieces. Let me clean up my workstation just a bit, and then I'll meet you all right back here. Okay. So with these vests, I've been wearing the one that I'm wearing almost every day for like 2 years at this point, like at least 2 years. And I absolutely love it. It's made out of a vegetable tanned leather that's pretty thin. It's about 2 millimeters thick. I'm not entirely certain on how the ounces translate, but if you talk to your leather provider, they should be able to help you out with that. And you can use garment leather, will work pretty well. Chrome tanned, you could use pig or lamb skin, just all sorts of stuff, but I most recommend the vegetable tanned because for decorative purposes you can do so many different things on it. Like you can dye it whatever color you want, you can texture it with tools and stamps and different things, and for me, holding up to sweat and humidity and all kinds of just, I really put it through its paces and it's held up wonderfully. So I can vouch for vegetable tan, whereas I've not made and used one made out of other materials personally, so I don't know how well they would work comparatively. My favorite thing to use to give it a little bit of texture is I have this embossed vegetable tanned leather, which is embossed to look like alligator hide, but it is far more durable than alligator hide, which is really a purely decorative leather. And so you can kind of see here that really cool texture, and you can see it just repeats the embossing. I guess in the leather processing factories, they just have a big roller that they just feed it through, but it gives it this really nice texture. And this piece has already been dyed for me, which is fantastic because it's even less work. But if you wanted to do your own colors, yeah, they do sell it just plain, which would be this very light kind of beige tone. And I take advantage of that very light beige tone because that's how I piece my leather together. And so whenever you feel confident that you've tweaked out your final leather design or pattern, just based off of, I've made probably at least 50 of these in the past 2 years, so I'm pretty sure like I feel pretty good about it. And you can always compare it to older work. Where's the back piece? There's the back piece. So that one, perfect. I love it. It's scooped in a little closer than what I want. I don't mind the little high back. Let's go ahead and give her a little bit more of a scooped back. And this way we can just come through and make it nice and easy. Because again, you don't want anything pulling down on the back of the neck. So I gave it a little bit more of a V-neck as opposed to a scallop, but that's entirely your own preference. And so now I'm going to be using this same marker and this is the center point. So I want it mirrored. So I'm going to do this side first because I want the pattern on the leather to match up as much as possible. So I'm going to move this kind of over onto the edge. And I'm just going to mark the edges like this. And you can be pretty messy with it because in a future tutorial, I'm going to show y'all how I do the laced edging. But in this one, I just wanted to cover making the pattern and getting that translated into the cutout pieces, because if you do make this close enough to the exact measurements, you can just rivet the different pieces together and just do lacing down the front. But I highly recommend to folks, if you want this to last years through all kinds of fluctuation and you want it to be nice and versatile, I really recommend putting the adjustable points in, because what if your boobs get bigger? What if they get smaller? What if you want to layer it over layers for a winter cosplay, or over a sweater, and you really want to give yourself those options to have an inch or two a give? What if your friend wants to wear it? You don't know. So just thickening up and darkening these lines. And so we'll take it and just flip it over. And I'm actually going to use this one line here as the shared line. That way there's no wasted material between the two sides. Okay, so there's that. I'm going to set that aside. And now I'm going to do the side piece. And I want to show y'all how I'm going to make that a little bit more sized up. This one, since there's going to be like gapping and stuff, I'm not so worried about having it match up. It's just in the back. That makes a really nice impression. Okay. So here, I'm actually going to do this line and extend it that way. And I want to keep the length the same over here, but I am going to extend it just a little bit more. And then I want to extend this way. And I'm just kind of piecing it around, keeping that curve constant. Just like that. And now over here, I'll just scooch this down. Line that up. Oh my gosh, this isn't even on camera. I'm so sorry, you guys. So you can see here how I extended out these lines just a little bit. And so to duplicate this, I'm going to cut this piece out and then flip it over instead of flipping this one over and trying to duplicate that same modification. So I'm going to set this off to the side as though it's done. And we have our one more piece to do. And this one, I want to compare it to the one that I already had made. That was our small. Here's our large. Just to, it's looking pretty good. Right on. Okay. So for this piece here, right here, will be the same as the line over here. So what we're going to do is we're going to draw that one first. Move this just a bit. Yeah, that'll work. And then this bottom line. Do this curve here. There. Do first the shoulder. And have it scoop on down. Okay. And now we're going to flip it. And do that same thing off to the other side. And again, even though there's a little bit of in scoop here, I'm going to use this one line as the dividing point. Bring that up and down. Still relatively in frame. Okay, so there's that. And now we can cut the pieces out. You could use just regular old scissors, but I really recommend, just to make your life a bit easier, some heavy duty leather shears. No, I like heavy duty. Get your heavy duty shears out. And so now I'm just gonna start cutting on the line. There we go. And I'm doing the piece that is the side panel first so that I can flip it over and get it marked out before I forget what I'm doing. But I'm not gonna lie, guys, having the side already embossed and already dyed takes so much of the labor out of the piece. It is initially more expensive, but I don't have to wait for the dye to dry or for the casing to dry out or anything before proceeding with the hole punching and the final assembly of this piece, which is really nice because I don't like having to wait whenever I want to get done with a project. So there's that one, heavy duty. Be sure to save every little bit of scrap piece because this stuff makes beautiful inlays. Okay, and so to flip it mirror, wrong sides together, just like that. And this fits in perfectly, just right there. So I'm going to use the fine point tip of my marker this time because I don't want to get any of the black ink on this piece. Even though I'm going to be doing a laced edge and it doesn't really matter, it's still, I like to try to keep it nice and neat. So there's that. Set that aside and we'll just keep on cutting. The only downside I've found about wearing this vest is it does get quite warm when, like, it doesn't let evaporation or anything happen there on your back. So whenever I'm doing like very heavy yard work, I get pretty sweaty, but like in that one spot in particular. But I mean, if you're wearing a regular bra and you're doing hard work, or if you're wearing like a sports bra or something, I mean, more often than not, they're pretty miserable to wear. So, and it's not anything that's like exceptional. And the nice thing about it is it's very easy to take on and off because it's over your clothes. So if you feel like you need it off for a bit, just take it off. Let the boobies be free. But I like that it has the support and structure of an underwire push-up bra, but the comfort of a sports bra. So that's really, in my mind, that's hard to beat. Well, the comfort of a comfortable sports bra. Let's specify that, because some of these sports bras nowadays can be kind of miserable too. Like stuff like this one, you could totally cut that out and make into an eye patch or like all kinds of stuff. It's just, possibilities truly are endless, limitless. Okay. Just keep cutting it out. And like stuff like this one, I'd be able to lay a ruler on this and get a segment for a bracelet. So it's, again, save it. So there's another piece of scrap. Oops, I just knocked off my saran wrap. It'll be okay. And then I'm going to show you guys in this next step what my final touch-up is before I start doing assembly. Trying my best to stay in frame for y'all. Okay, so there's that one, and then that just looks so cool. And I could have positioned it to where the alligator spine was like vertical on it and all kinds of stuff, but I didn't think of that until just now. But definitely an option. Okay, so I've got this one more piece to cut out. I'm actually just going to round this out a little bit more. I know I don't need that extra little bit of weird curve there. And whenever I've got like just an odd piece like that, I just go ahead and trim it off. There's no use fighting with it. But that's just me. Okay. But yeah, usually whenever I'm marking a project, I only mark the inside piece. That way I don't have to worry about it showing through my stain or anything later on in the project. Okay, so there's that. I'm going to roll up this piece of leather, set that off to the side. And now let me go grab a ruler, like a straight edge. And so I'm going to be doing another line here from this center point right here to this tip right here. Just lining that up. And a nice solid line. You can see it wasn't completely perfect. That's fine, that's what we have tools for. And I'm just going to slice up the center on that new line. And so now the symmetry of the piece is very important. And so I'll line it up from the line that we know is symmetrical. And we'll just compare a bit. Got a little bit of overlap here. I mean, really minute overlapping, if you can see there. Just that little bit poking through. So I'm just going to trim that down. There we go. Again, just keeping everything as nice and lined up as what I can get it. Checking it from both sides. And y'all, that seems pretty darn symmetrical. I feel pretty good about that. So now we'll just set that over off to the side because it's done. And now we have these two pieces that we're laying together like this. No overlap on this side. No overlap on this side. Excellent. Wow. I have to say, the first time I went through and made a pattern, there was a lot of tweaking going on. Like, it did not come out this well. I was having to like shave and scallop and like really fix a lot of different edges and stuff. So now we're going to do the same thing. We have our center point here, and we have our center point of the V down back there. So I'm going to take my marker, line up my straight edge, and do a nice solid line. Now I'm going to go through and cut down that line. And now I'm going to lay them face to face to make sure that they are symmetrical. I don't have any overlap on this side. Let's flip it over. I've got a little bit right there. No, that's really good actually. I don't see anything that really calls out to me as needing addressed. Yeah, that's excellent, you guys. So now, the next step is I am going to go through and I'm going to kind of explain this to you here, and then I'm going to go and actually do this in the next video. But I'm going to round these corners there. These ones aren't so major that they need it. They'll be fine just like that. But the very sharp corners, anything, you know, 90 degrees or tighter, maybe even like 100 to 110 degrees, kind of obtuse, like, or tighter, will need to go ahead and be rounded. And then I'm going to poke holes for eyelets. And you could just go ahead and do that, poke the holes for the eyelets, dye the edges, and be done. But in the next video, I'm going to be showing y'all how I do the lacing, because on this piece here, I don't know if you can see, I'm going to show you over in this camera. It's unfinished and it curled up. So I'll show you in this camera too. See how it curls up? Because this was the prototype piece. So where it has the edging, it does not do that. So that's why I feel like it's so important in the longevity of the piece to go ahead and go through and do some sort of reinforcement around the edging. And doing the lacing like this, just, I mean, it really ups it a notch in quality and craftsmanship. So that's why around the edges, and I'm going to go through with a punch and punch a bunch of little holes, and I'll show you how to do the stitching. On the holes here in the back and down the front, I'm actually going to be taking scrap leather that's very thick and very stiff, because like stuff like these, this will bunch up and crinkle down on you pretty easily. But if you have some like saddle skirting that's very rigid, it'll still bow, but it's not going to like wrinkle on you. And so I'm going to have that encased in the lacing on the back side. So that's something that I'm going to show you guys how to do. Over here, you'll need all these corners rounded, and it'll be good. But yeah, and then it's here in the front, again, we're going to be doing that casing to keep it nice and stiff and sturdy. So I hope that this was helpful to you guys. If you have any questions, comments, or ideas, please leave them down below. I'd love hearing from you guys. If you have pictures of stuff that you've made that you'd like to share to our Facebook page, you can find me on there. I'm Back to Earth Creations, and I love getting stuff posted to our walls so that everybody can see, you know, what all we've all been up to, and kind of get a little bit of a community going over there. I am going to make these patterns available to all of my $5 and up patrons, so that you can just, like, I'll just mail it to you, I guess. Like, or we'll make it like PDF download. I haven't put it together specifically yet, but if you would like access to all of my leatherworking patterns, become a patron. There's a link down in the video description below. If you pledge $1, it puts you into the running for all of our giveaways, especially our patron exclusive giveaway. If you pledge $5 or more, not only do you get your name into all of the giveaways 5 times, but you get access to our, you know, Vaughn, scratch that too. We're making it the $10 and up. Okay. So I hope that this tutorial was helpful to y'all. If you have any questions, comments, or ideas, I'd love to hear them. Please leave them down in the comment area below. If you would like to share pictures of what you have created, please check us out on Facebook. We're just Back to Earth Creations, and you can share pictures onto our wall and stuff there. And hopefully I'll catch y'all in the next video, where I'll be showing how to turn these little pieces of leather into a completed wearable piece of functional art. So I hope y'all have a fantastic day. Oh, if you like our free tutorials and would like to support the creation of more of them, please check us out on Patreon. There's a link down in the video description below, where if you pledge just $1, it puts your name in the hat for all of our giveaways across all social media platforms, but it especially gets you into the running for our bi-monthly Fairy House giveaway. And then if you pledge $5 or more, you get your name in all of those giveaways 5 times. So it greatly increases your chances of winning. And then if you pledge $10, you start getting kits and materials every month, or your preference if you'd rather have like a gift or something. And if you pledge at like the $15 mark, you actually get access to all of our leatherworking patterns, as well as a gift mailed to you monthly. Well, gift or materials, whichever you prefer. And they kind of just go up from there. The more you pledge, the more materials you'll get every month, or the higher quality gift you'll get, or just, you know, I really appreciate all y'all's support So I try to give back as much as y'all give to me. So I really appreciate all of you. Thank you guys so much for your patience in waiting for this video to come out. And I'll see y'all next time. Happy crafting. Mwah. Bye.